said I talked too much when I was born.
Yeah? Okay. You, what do you want to do? You're
We
looking
are,
at us? Okay, now, before we start, Charlie, I want you to talk to Morna, because I'm going to sit close to you so you can hear me when I ask questions,
So
okay?
I'll look at Morna.
Yeah, look at Morna and tell her the story, because that way I know you're hearing me, okay?
Okay.
You can look at me too, but I'm just saying, that's why I'm sitting like this, okay?
Okay.
All right, you think you're ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right, well, today is May 11th, and this is our third interview together. And today we're going to be talking about a prescription for growing older. And you wrote your first short story about that in, I believe, 2001. And then you redid it in 2006. And I'm going to read the one that you wrote in 2006. I'm going to read just a little bit of it. And it says, I am 83 years old, and I will be 84 in November. I have fallen, and I'm black and blue around the face and head. I do not feel a lot of pain except the pain I see in the faces of others when they look at me. I have spent a lifetime trying to figure out who I am, as well as searching for my own reality. At 16, I was a cocky, self-assured intellect with so many doubts I couldn't like myself at all. I hated my parents for moving to Florida from Maryland and basically did not treat them well. In return, they treated me badly. I don't remember Daddy Bob taking me out, but my mother was adamant that he should. Mostly she accomplished this by ignoring me and what I did. I was the only girl in high school that could stay out all night. And no one said a thing. No one seemed to care. And so you sort of reminisced about growing up. But now you've come to this paragraph. And it says, today I would describe myself as an older woman, a writer, feels better about how I look than when I was 16. I know that I am a sexual human being and that my need to express my sexuality continues. I am straight sexually, but love it when my women friends hug me. Also my men friends. I don't like everyone, but like to communicate and discover individuals hiding in a body regardless of age or race or gender. I like diversity in all aspects of my life. I do not like groups that pull all those things together. So I want you to talk to me a little bit about, well, you brought it up, so let's talk about sexuality and being older.
Okay. Up till a certain point, I was certainly, I'm still a sexual human being. You never get over that. You're born with it and you die with it. And but I don't need a mate. I can take care of my sexuality needs as they arrive.
Okay.
And I think that's an important part, that you're not needy.
You're not needy. Don't deny it.
Yeah, don't deny that you're not needy. But I think it's an important part of growing older. And I used to do a presentation in different places, and they still talk about the one I did at Piedmont Hospital, where I allowed people to talk about their sexuality and really get into it. And there were some interesting things that came out. There was the woman that's head of the 60 plus program at Piedmont is a friend of mine, and she still laughs about that presentation at Piedmont. And it was people that came from various places. It wasn't just the nurses and the people there. But I did a lot of programs like that, and I think it was an important part for the women that attended to allow themselves to talk about it.
And what was sort of the format of the program?
Well, I did a presentation about sexuality, and I'm comfortable with the subject because I did teenage sexuality. I did AIDS. I've done all that. So, this was just a thing I saw a need in women, not men particularly, but women.
Mm-hmm.
I think men have different needs.
And what common denominator did you constantly keep hearing from all these women?
Common denominator?
What was the most common things you heard?
The most common thing I heard was denial. That they hadn't been able to talk about it. And that it was okay to talk about it. And I sort of opened up the subject, and that was what I was trying to do. I always had an objective that I was trying to get. Everything I did. Mm-hmm. As you know, that was my writings now, that they're all, you said one time that it sounded like it needed discussion. Now the discussion. Mm-hmm. And that was what I wanted women to do, was discuss it.
Included in being sexual is older people who receive less and less hugs or are touched less and less.
I had more and more.
Well,
I mean, I had the yard man this morning. When he saw me enter the kitchen, he came in to hug me. Dirty, sweaty yard man.
Did you like that?
He always does it. He wants to hug me. And that's wonderful.
Yes. Do you think that older people get less and less of it, though, because people are afraid of them?
Maybe some do. I've gotten more and more. But I must say, hug me. That unconsciously I'm saying hug me. I used to see this in audiences. Little old women sitting in the audience, really corresponding with me, not in words, but saying hug me. And I would always go and hug them when I got through my presentation.
And that gave them courage to ask for it again.
Yeah.
It
was somebody really needing to be hugged. Mm-hmm. That I would. It was a wonderful feeling to know that somebody could communicate without words to say this, mm-hmm. or I wouldn't remember it. It was a very. But I think I've been easy to hug. My family were not huggers. Not at all.
Your mother?
No. My mother hugged me? No. It never occurred to it.
So how did you learn to ask for it?
Probably because I wasn't getting it when I was a child. That it was okay. I don't ever remember anybody hugging me other than my grandmother. And her body was fat and wonderfully warm. She wasn't a pretty thing by the time I knew her.
Well, one of your points, actually, you've picked out 3 points.
Yeah.
That you talk about having to deal with when you're growing older. And the first one is to identify yourself and to not leave choices up to others. And talk to me about identifying yourself. How through the decades does...
We tend, in our younger years, to identify ourselves by how people see us, okay, by others. And I still use a mirror for that. The mirror is another person that sits there and tells me what she sees in me. Not in words. Mm-hmm. Just in body language, whatever it is. So we tend to accept this version rather than our own version. And it took me a long time, but I worked at it. And yesterday I had a visitor from one of the women from the church that I had worked with it. I guess it was probably in the 70s or 80s, early 80s, that a group of us from Glen Memorial Methodist Church started, and I think I started the group, of trying to find out who we were. And we had many discussions. Of course, I had started with those 3 men in Michigan, where I went in a closet. And
You went in a closet.
well, it was a psychology room, for therapy. It was like a closet with, but anyway, the 3 men and I really worked at who we were.
And what
The 2 men and myself.
And did you have a facilitator, or were you sort of
No,
on
we
your
didn't.
own?
One of them was taught psychology at Oakland University in Pontiac. One of them was a minister, and me. And our purpose was to plan a sermon. But we never got around to that till the last time, because we got into who we were and what we needed to do with our lives. The minister left the ministry and became the boxing commissioner for Michigan.
So you went from
He went from a
church
minister
to boxing? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And the last I heard, he was head of boxing for the whole state of Michigan. We visited several years later, and he said, and I really, there's more way than one to be a minister. And I really believe that in many ways I've ministered to people. And I am not, that's my Christian ethic, that I really accepted somewhere along the line. The psychologist that taught psychology stayed in his career, but changed his attitude towards his wife, which was amazing, that all of a sudden he treated her like an equal human being.
All right, and those are the 2 men. And
The 2 men.
And what about you?
And they decided that I should go back to college. I was 49. And so I enrolled in Wayne State and drove downtown to 7th Avenue or Street or whatever it is and joined the masses at Wayne State and took a course in theater. In oral interpretation was the name of the class. And I took a psychology course. I wasn't sure what I was going to do when I grew up, but it was torn between psychology and theater. And of course, Ralph came home and said we were moving to Kansas City. So I didn't go right away because I was involved with what I was doing in Michigan. And came along and I decided I would go back. I found out that Kansas City, the University of Kansas City was in Kansas City, and that I could go there, I could transfer. So I transferred to Kansas City and got in line to register. And somebody says, we're going to have to declare a major. And here I am torn between psychology and theater. And I thought, I can do theater the rest of my life. That was the selling point for me at 50, 49, to go back to there. And so I went in theater, and it was quite an experience. And I had friends of all ages. I had a lot of 18-year-old friends, male and female. I had a lot of gay friends. It was like the world sort of opened up for me. Being in that theater department, I became the mother superior, Somebody's having a nervous breakdown. Where the fuck? I thought that was my name. You could hear them all over this building. And maybe in the business building across the street. But I knew something had happened that needed immediate fixing. I spent a lot of time going to the emergency room with people. They found a real use for me. The other thing they found useful for me was that I had silver trays for the opening night parties. And somebody said, as I was leaving to move to here, mm-hmm. What are we going to do for silver trays? I thought, that's my value. But it was a wonderful experience and opened up my life tremendously to have a variety of such friends. I mean, the first time I sat next to two young men looking at a magazine that had men in black negligees, I was impressed. I didn't listen to the teacher, I watched the magazine. But anyway, it was a great experience and really helped along. But then this group, I came to Atlanta and I wanted to continue finding out who I was. And so I formed a group at Glen of women. And those women still collect around me. Yesterday one came to see me, and her husband was a theology teacher. And we still talk about, and we still get into very intimate conversations. They're glad to see me. Mm-hmm. They care about me. And that's a wonderful feeling.
So
I worked at it. I really worked at it.
Well,
and of course it was a thing to do in that period of time too. To remember that the 70s and 80s was women coming to the forefront. It was okay to be different. It was okay to be a writer. It was okay to be whatever you are.
Along these lines, I'm going to read something that you wrote, and you said, I enjoy visiting with friends. I have good friends and proud of them. I have managed to hold on to friends for a very long time and like having telephones where I can pick up the phone and call wherever they are. Friends may be the most important things we collect through the years. I go back, Hilda Jane in Trap, up through the friends I have made during our moves around the country. I have different circles of friends. There is a third thing that draws us together, and that's, let me go back. I have different circles of friends. There are always two close friends that fill different needs. Today they are Judy and Barbara. There is a third thing that draws us together, and that is what I call my Trinity.
Now what?
My Trinity.
Oh, my Trinity.
The third thing has to be there for there to be a true relationship. A quotation I heard recently said there can be no relationship if you look at the other and see yourself.
Yeah.
These two people are both different from me as well as from each other. So one of the big things I notice with you is you have a huge circle of friends.
I do.
And the circle is a variety in age.
Yeah. Yeah.
And keeps you going, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I like to have. You should have a variety of ages because they're going to die if you don't. If you just have your peer group, they die, and that's what causes a lot of sadness in older people, is the fact that they have stuck to their peer group, or to family. I think you need a lot of stuff going on around you. It's a stimulation. It's the. I'm really glad to see my friends. I love my birthday party. As somebody said, one woman said, I don't know this many people, much less have this many friends. But they came from a variety of places. My children invited people they thought would want to come. And they came, and it was like, they came from a variety of places. One was my handyman, one was my cleaning woman, my aerobics group, my garden club, which it doesn't garden. We just talk.
Yeah, and they put out a fantastic spread too. I saw that spread.
Oh my, we have everything.
Good night.
Neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was my neighborhood is partly the garden club too, but it was I could have invited more. I didn't invite these church friends. I didn't invite any of the people I worked with for many years in social work around, like the woman at Piedmont Hospital. You know, I consider her a friend. Mm-hmm. You couldn't invite all of them.
In your second point of growing older, you said be productive.
Yeah.
It does not have to produce income, but it must be something useful to you or others.
Yes, yes. The writing has done that for me. It's kept me feeling productive. I'm a little frustrated right now that I can't see the keys well enough to not print gobbledygook. You know, it's not coming out right.
Yeah.
I'm hitting wrong keys because of vision has been very poor recently. But I will find a way. I'll either start recording or something like that. Because I have some stories to tell. I got a story to tell about that trip to Bud Terrace.
Bud Terrace, the nursing home.
Huh?
The nursing home.
The rehab center.
The rehab center, yes.
Yeah. Some woman came in my room one day and says, "We're going to give you a shower."
Okay.
And I said, "Fine, I haven't had one in 3 weeks. That sounds good." So she took me down to the shower room. I didn't have one in my room. There is a young, handsome black man going to give me a shower. But he is in training. This is the first shower he's ever given. And he's got 5 people watching what he's doing and his teacher telling him what to do. And I'm stark naked. So, but you know what my feeling was during that shower?
No.
I wanted that young man to feel comfortable. And that was what I concentrated on, was making him feel comfortable. And he thanked me profusely when he got through, because he was so nervous.
You were teaching him.
Yeah.
You were being a teacher.
Yeah, I was being the teacher.
You were being the teacher.
Except there was a teacher and 5 students over here. And he was a cute guy, regardless of his color or age. But I thought, you know, they picked me out for a reason. I bet there wasn't many people in there that could have tolerated that.
I see.
But that's okay. But it is a story to tell.
I want to read that story. Okay?
Okay.
Even if you have to dictate it.
Yeah, I may have to turn to that. You know, I don't know what I'll do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other stories you want to write? What other topics?
Other topics I want. I think I want to elaborate more on the aging process and how we go about. You know, I wrote another one last year. Did I write another one last year?
Yes.
That was different from the first one. I think we need some stories about growing older that helps people deal with their own aging.
What points are standing out that you want to discuss?
To be careful.
Careful with?
Your money.
Talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, you know, elder abuse was my main topic that I was recognized for, is what I will say. And it happened mostly with money. And it was mostly family.
You're saying that one of the top abuses is money management.
Money management, and I think we need to be prepared. You two need to be prepared for what happens to your money when you no longer can happen. And you've got a husband. You've got Janet. You don't want Janet managing your money.
Let's continue.
And you may not want your husband to. You know, I don't know what kind of money manager. My husband was terrible. It came in this hand and went out with that one. Immediately. The last baby I had, I hid the checkbook under my mattress at the hospital.
And that was to keep it away from
Ralph.
Ralph, okay.
Because he would have, when I went the time before that, he spent money that we didn't have. He overdrew the checking account. So I didn't trust him anymore with money.
So let's get back to elder
Abuse.
and money.
Well, as I discovered, it was mostly family. And what happens in most families with an aging person, the lowest common denominator becomes a caregiver. They don't have a job. I've seen it here in my own neighborhood. A couple down the street, their daughter was a schizophrenic. She became the caregiver. Sometimes she took her medication, sometimes she didn't. Fortunately, they both lived a good long life. He was in his 90s and she was in her, she was the same age I am. And they survived it, but she couldn't have been great as a caregiver. Mm-hmm. But I've just seen that over and over again. Drug users, people that don't have jobs. The man across the street's got Charlene's second husband as his caregiver. Yeah. And he doesn't have a job. He hasn't worked in many years. So, you know, we're talking about people that really are not capable of being caregivers.
Who end up being
just families that tend to put that in the way. That was one of the problems I saw. The other problem was just pure greed. Okay. Or they wanted to not leave the parent any say so. For instance, I had a man who told his mother she was too old to have cataract surgery. And she was wanting to have the cataract surgery, and I said, you really don't, I told her over the phone, I said, you really don't have to do what your son says you have to do. If you want cataract surgery, they will pick you up and take you to the hospital and bring you home. And that's what she did, but she said she cried all the way.
Because she was disobeying.
She was disobeying her son.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of that actually Barbara and I had this conversation. What is the role of the family in taking care of older people? Mm-hmm. I told my children, I will ask for help when I need it. Which is, Barbara said.
Have you?
Not really.
I'm just asking.
No, I don't think I've really asked for it. Sometimes they want to do more than I want them to do.
Right. But you understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, they want to take care.
Yeah.
There's a couple, they're pretty, I talked to Christine, my youngest, this morning. And she says we're all controlling figures. Including mother. Mother and 6 children.
What about when you get older, knowing when to cut back, sort of like knowing when to move out of the big house into something manageable, knowing when you need help?
I had this conversation with my friend yesterday. They're moving into Claremont Place, and she says, I'm trying to do it before I really have to. And I think that may be a good
way of doing things.
Yeah, way of doing it. And she talked about the difference between going to Claremont Place and going to Kingsbury, which are probably about equal. You have to buy into Claremont Place.
Okay.
And you pay by the month at Kingsbury. So that gives it a little edge. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to know it. It's hard to know what you can afford. It's not cheap.
Right.
And if you wait till the state decides what to do with you, that's not always very good.
Right.
You need to decide for yourself, or at least converse with your children. Several years ago, when I was working at Legal Aid, I did all my legal stuff, my springing power of attorney, health care directives, all that. And then I called them all together, and they hated that meeting and cannot remember having it. Not one of them.
You're saying we had denial here?
Yeah, right.
You had communal denial.
Communal denial, yeah. And I was probably in my 70s. You know, it was a good while ago. I really didn't feel like I was growing older till I had breast cancer, and they did that radiation, which knocked me out for a while.
That's the first time you felt your age, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when that happened?
I think I was 80. I think it was 2003, maybe.
So you had breast cancer and came through, but it diminished your lung capacity because
yes, they burned my lungs, and
right.
my lung. I couldn't walk up hills anymore.
Right.
I still can't walk up a hill or an incline.
I want to tell you that I find you remarkable because you might have what I would say a disappointment, as in I can't hear as well as I used to, and for you that's true. You have macular degeneration.
Yeah.
But what I admire is the fact that you have always successfully adapted.
I think adaptability is one of the most important things we have. I always said about my mother, because she lived with me her last 7 or 8 years, that if she got a problem, she made an end run and found another way. And I think that is what we have to do. If you can't walk uphill, you find a way to avoid it.
Right.
You don't really like that feeling of not being able to breathe. Mm-hmm. And so you find another way to get up the hill. And like people take me up the hill.
And for you, you can't see well, so your bridge partners play with extra large cards.
They're not extra large cards.
Is it the printing?
It's the color of them that is important, okay. Rather than I can see the cards here, and I can see the cards here.
Yes. But
I can't see both of them.
Okay.
So it required a different set of brain power.
Okay.
To do this, to look at this, look at the board, and figure out what you're going to do. They're always yelling at me, "Have you got a club?"
They're not supposed to
you
do
play
that.
your spade. But anyway, it's an interesting group. They're very comfortable with my disability.
Well, heck, they came to Bud Terrace, right?
Yeah, they came to Bud Terrace, and we played up there in the dining room.
Yeah.
And I got noted for I got noted up there.
Yes, I think you did, yes.
Yeah. So they saw me as different. And somebody would always say on Monday, "Are we having bridge tonight?" Yes. They didn't let me get by many weeks without. I didn't have it when I was hallucinating.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That was not in my.
No, that was not your agenda.
No, I had other agendas at that point.
Well, if you've adapted to your vision by making adjustments in your playing bridge, you no longer able to read, so you have at least 3 books going at once, but they're audio books.
Yeah.
The keys on your computer are yellow and black and extra large.
Yeah. I have a program for the blind
where
you can make the size of the letters any size you
want,
or magnify them, or
do you memorize? Do you memorize where things are to help you?
I found that hard to do again. That I tend to get in the wrong place.
Okay.
And then I get gobbledygook.
Okay.
I'm frustrated with that, but I will probably find a way.
I think you will. I know you will.
I can't let it stop me from doing what I want to do.
Your third point here is have fun, but first learn what it is you really enjoy rather than something that others say you should enjoy. All of this depends on you.
That's part of finding out who you are.
How do you have fun?
My books are fun.
Your books are fun?
I've been reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Let's talk about that, shall we? I don't know why.
I got tired of it.
Why did you get tired of 50
Because,
Shades of
I
Grey?
don't like just sex.
You don't like just sex. What did you want it else to do?
I wanted a plot.
I haven't read it, so it doesn't
No,
have a plot.
there's no plot.
No plot.
Other than the fact that it's a wonderful description of a woman's feelings about sex. And I think that's a good part about it. Because I don't think many women accept these. And we must learn how to. Of course, I did it with writing about sex all those years. And aging and sexuality.
There you go. In the Tulip Garden of Sandy Springs, it says here.
Well, yes, I did both Tulip Gardens.
Let's not get off the subject. Let's get back to 50 Shades of Grey.
But I think 50 Shades of Grey it's well written.
Okay.
And it's well written from a woman's point of view because it's a woman writer.
So do you think the book is more therapy than gratuitous?
And she goes, and it gets kinky,
Okay.
But I do think as we go along in our sexuality that we enlarge our horizons and do more than we did when we started.
That's a little obtuse, but I'll take it.
You'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that our sexual activities get larger, get more, they expand as we learn more about our bodies.
There you have it.
Yeah.
I'm wore out just talking about it. just
Okay.
All right. Now, I know you like to play on your computer.
Oh, yeah. My computer I missed my computer at Bud Terrace. Oh, and I think if I ever had to go back and do that sort of thing again, I will get a laptop that I can take with me.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, back again.
So the computer, you play computer games?
Yeah. A lot of them. Every day.
Every day. You make it a habit to do that?
Yeah. I look at my emails. I look at my New York Times
All right.
and read the headlines because I can't read anything else.
Okay.
I look at Facebook. I look at my bank account. And then I play games. Every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning. And it really tells me how my brain's working and my reflexes.
Which I see are quite good. After watching over your shoulder, you play a game or two.
Oh, I'm shooting at things.
Yes, you are. You're rearranging things.
I'm rearranging things. I'm finding pairs of things like
Mahjong, isn't it?
Mahjong. I'm playing free cell to make my brain work on the numbers. And I play this game where you collapse I'm really good on that collapse game because it's colors I can see. So my reflexes are good on finding that and getting many of the games I've not been as good at since this last
go around.
That's okay. It'll get better.
You are getting better, actually.
Yeah, I am getting better.
Yes.
But
you have 9 lives, you know that.
Yeah. I'm like the cat.
Yep.
just bounce back. That was what everybody said. I bounced back.
Is there something on your mind that you would still like to do at 90 and beyond?
Yeah. I've given up doing things.
No, something that you would like to do.
Like to do. What
Yes.
would I like to do? I really like having friends and the interaction with friends. Judy and I have get together every week, and we really talk about our childhood and our memories of how we grew up and why we're the way we are. We're still identifying who we are. And Barbara too.
It doesn't stop, does it?
And I really like that. I like having a mirror to look in that I can tell what she thinks of me compared to what I think of me.
Do you have any regrets?
I regret my marriage didn't work any longer than it did. It worked for 40 years, but it disintegrated.
How different do you think things would have been if
Oh, I'm glad to be rid of him.
Oh, well then. I guess we won't go further with that question.
No, there's really not many.
No?
He said all along, in the last probably 10 or 15 years that we were married, that I would be better off without him.
Why did he think so?
He thought I would be able to develop my own talents better.
He saw that in you?
Mm-hmm. He really did. He was not a dumb man, or I wouldn't have lasted as long as it did. Plus, we were sexually attracted our whole marriage. That never got over. But I did regret originally my marriage breaking up. I really tried to make it work. I got him sober. At one point I got him to rehab, and that was when the marriage ended, right there. He did not want to be rehabilitated, and is now drinking again. Yeah, at 91. So we don't give up much of who we are. Anybody.
Why? Because it's safe to stay.
Probably, and it's what you're familiar with.
Even if it's not good, you still.
Even if it's not good, it's what we're familiar with. We want to be comfortable, but we want to have. My family was fun having. I mean, dinner time was you pushed the dishes back and played games every night. There was no lack of fun. I mean, they were just fun-loving. Even my mother was that way, but, she wasn't a very good mother, but she was a good role model for me.
Yeah.
And she was insistent that I would be a writer. And I used to say I wanted to be a dancer, a singer, an actress, and she would always add a writer.
Look at that.
She gave me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She gave me a literacy. When you don't read children's books to a child, but read adult books to them, what are you doing to them? Mm-hmm. She read Three Musketeers, The Count of Monte Cristo, Kristen Lavren's Daughter. Has anybody ever read Kristen Lavren? I talked about it so much, Judy read it. And she said, "That's a wonderful book." I said, "Yeah, it was. It was fun." The experiences of a woman in Sweden. So I really do appreciate what my mother gave me. And she read cowboy books every once in a while to please my father. So I knew about Zane Grey and whoever.
Well, it looks like, if you give your okay, today your plays will go to the archives.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how you felt about seeing them go, leaving this room.
Leading what now?
I wondered how you felt about your plays leaving this room.
It's a little bit of a, I don't wanna, and a little bit of, I do wanna. It's not a simple feeling. It's so much of my product. But I would rather it be somewhere where people could read it. And that my children are very relieved that they don't have to do it. So it's a good feeling, in general. And I want to empty the office out. Now, all this stuff is another whole game I'm playing with pictures.
Yes.
And I've really tried to leave a legacy for my children. My mother left a legacy of flowers. I've still got flowers in my yard that my mother planted. She didn't leave a dime, but she left the flowers. And the deck on the back of the house, she left that. I'm not a great lover of flowers, gardening, but I have children that are. She left it to them. But she left me a different set of things. She saw into who I was. In spite of her. She was not neglectful, but she wasn't loving. And she came back in my hallucination when I was at Piedmont Hospital, and she was still the same way. She hadn't changed. So I'm okay with that now.
You're okay
I really
with it?
am.
Okay.
I accept what she left.
All right.
And go on to something else. And my children may not be as pleased with what I did as I am, but that's okay too. Some of my grandchildren are, I find, more receptive. My children tend to worry about me and feel like they should do more. And but they're busy people. Also doing, controlling whatever position they're in. But I'm satisfied with my life, and I still have fun. Every day I have fun.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do.
I think it's hard for me to be depressed very long.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and that may be a lack of depth or something.
No.
I don't know what it is, but it was certainly ingrained as I grew up that fun was important.
Yep.
And I think that may be what's missing in our society.
All right.
Is the ability to know what is fun. People think going to a bar and getting drunk is fun. I never found that fun. I had to play games that required my mind, and it was mind games that we played. And I still like to play them. They're children's games. But adults played them in my growing up. But that was fun around the dining room table. And in the winter, it was too cold in there. It got too cold because you cooked in the middle of the day, so it was warm in the middle of the day. But at night, you had to go back to the living room in the fireplace. And our winter occupations were shelling corn and peanuts for seeds. And you sat around the fire and you ate a lot of the peanuts. You understand why you're shelling just raw peanuts. But, and talked. There was real discussions of all kinds. And so I learned that was fun too. And I had medical books that I played with.
Describe playing with medical books.
Oh, I love the pictures. My great-grandfather was a surgeon during the Civil War, and he had these medical books. I mean, they were big books, you know, thick. The only books that I know of that had pictures in the house, you know. So I would take them down and look at the pictures, and nobody stopped me.
Were they drawings or pictures?
They were drawings, yeah, and more diagram sort of stuff.
Yes, I wouldn't think they would.
But I'm sure I learned a lot.
I'm sure you did.
It was interesting books, and I'm sorry they got lost. They got eaten up by rats, but they were wonderful books. I would have loved to have had them to see what I liked when I was 5 years old. Or 4 years old, sitting on the floor reading the big books. But it was the uncles and aunts that were around, and my grandmother, and you know, I was raised by a bunch of teenagers. Is what happened. And the teenager, you know, I've got a teenage point of view. It's what you're seeing, and I've accepted that. It's I have more in common with the 18-year-olds than I do with the...
Right now?
Yeah, even now I find that true. But I know one of the things I don't do is pay much attention to people's ages.
Instead, what they have to offer.
Yeah. And some of my 18-year-old friends were wonderful. There was one young man I used to go in Kansas City. We were taking a geology course, and we would go hunting for fossils in bank buildings.
In where?
In bank buildings where there was a lot of marble and stone. And he was about 6'6", and the two of us running around town, you know, a 50-year-old and a 18-year-old. And I kept saying, "James, you're going to get us arrested." But we never did. I think people in Kansas City got used to us hunting for fossils in bank walls. But anyway, that was the sort of thing that we were both enjoying. Oh, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I knew James. He's not somebody I've kept up with, but you know, I was glad to know him. And Valley Henley was another young woman that I knew that was just out of high school. And we were, after our dance class, we were struggling up the stairs, and I started to complain, and Valley says, "Charlie, shut up. I'm 18 and I can't get up the stairs either." So, you know, it was like they put me in my place in many ways. They helped me know who I was.